Hey guys, so I'm going to walk you through this week's assignment, which is the last assignment for communications for the entire school year. So yay, congratulations, you're here. So we're at the point where we are going to be putting together the final draft of our letter to the editor. Now at this point, if you've handed in your letter to the editor over the weekend, I will have already read it and given you feedback. So um, this is what the assignment looks like for this week. Obviously, this video will be inserted right here, the one that we're creating right now. But then below there is the revision and editing checklist, which we will go over here in a second, and then the final steps. So this is what the assignment looks like, and this is the link to the document that you guys are going to be using. And here's what it looks like. This is my version of it. I always make a copy so that I can show you guys how to do this. And it's literally going to have just the step-by-step instructions. They're pretty straightforward. It starts with to the editor, and then you copy and paste it down below here. So if your piece of writing has been read by me, and I have given you feedback on it, which is essential to your being able to do the next step, it should look a little bit like this. You may have a bunch of questions or comments. You may only have one, but there should be at least one on every single letter to the editor. I made sure to go through really closely and make sure that I gave you guys some feedback on it. Of course, I went through here and created my own example one. And as I'm editing these, I'm going to make you guys. So what happens is that whenever you submit it, Google reverts you to being a commenter. As I'm going through this, I am going to make sure you guys are set to editors so you don't have any problems with this. If you do, let me know and I will make sure to make that adjustment. You can always request edit access too as when you're in your document, but otherwise just let me know and I will fix it if I miss any of them. So here's what's going to happen. You guys are going to read through this. You're going to read my comments, and then you are going to make adjustments based upon this. Now, there is a difference between revision and editing. A lot of times people like to use them interchangeably, but they are very different. So revising is where you're literally working with the words and content within the letter itself, within your piece of writing. So that could mean adding sentences or words, which I may request you to do within the comments, removing unneeded words or unneeded sentences. Some of you will have that. If I felt like an area maybe needed to be a little bit cut down, not always, but sometimes that happens. So you could add or remove words and sentences. You may have to move some sentences and words around to make things make sense. Especially if I'm asking you a question about what this means, you may feel the need to move some things around. Or substitute. You could trade some words or sentences for others and just substitute in more information that makes more sense. So this revising is ARMS, hence the little arm here, ARMS. And then we have editing. Now, editing is you're talking about capitalization, making place that your names, all of your your proper nouns, names, places, months, titles, and the letter I are all capitalized. Making sure your nouns and verbs match to make sense. You have the correct punctuation in there, and all of your sentences have punctuation, periods, quotations, commas, question marks, exclamation points, the whole bit, okay? And then spelling. Make sure that your spelling is correct. Use Google Docs. There's sometimes they'll underline words for you. You can do spell check using it. Check your spelling. Make sure it's all spelled correctly. And that acronym is CUPS, C-U-P-S. So use this as a checklist to go through and make sure that you have all of the information that needs to be included in there in the revision area based upon all the comments I made. And then your editing is going to be your capitalization and making sure that your letter to the editor is as clean as it can be. So if we go back to my example, and we're looking through here, I made some comments. So I say here, you repeated helps twice, vary the language. So what that means is that I need to change one of these helps So it says it helps students to develop their signature and it helps students with their fine motor skills. I would say develops students' fine motor skills. There we go. So I had to change it a little bit, and I changed it right here in the rough draft. All right. And then once I'm happy with it, you just check mark it. And then this topic is important to me because I learned cursive when I was in school, and I said, what level of school? Well, when I was in elementary school. So there we go. Up here, I had to change up some of my language. I had to substitute some words, and now I'm actually adding information into here. So then I do that. Now, if you look at the steps, it says copy and paste the revised version of your letter to the editor below. So I've read through it. I like this. I see all my spelling looks correct. School in America. I would, in the USA, right? Because there's a lot of different Americas. There's North America, South America. So I want to be a little bit more exact here. I know that this doesn't look right. You can see that my font's all messed up there. So I'm going to make sure it matches the rest of it. And is it Lotto? Yes. So there we go. Now it all matches really nicely. It's nice and clean looking. So now I'm going to go from introduction, and I'm going to copy and paste this in there. But we're not done yet, okay? Because now we need to put this in here. And now we need to clean this up, because you don't want any of the tags that I have created. You don't want those in there. So the introduction all needs to be one paragraph. So we're going to remove these little tags and put these in their separate paragraphs. If you need instructions on how to do this, it is in the rubric. I give exact instructions on what needs to look, what it exactly needs to look like. And it says that there should be basically 5 parts to it, 5 paragraphs. There we go. There's my body paragraph. And then here's my conclusion. And you're seeing I'm actually putting a tab at the very beginning of each one. All right. So now I have my to the editor, my introduction, my body paragraph, and then my conclusion, and then sincerely, and my name, the city I live in, and the state I live in. All right. So then it says, make sure your letter to the editor meets all the requirements listed in the rubric, and you can find the rubric back here. You can see it's attached right here. So we need an attention catcher, a thesis statement, and a personal connection in the introduction. We need 3 supporting reasons, 3 pieces of relevant evidence, and including at least 1 quote for the body paragraph. Conclusion, we need an interesting closing statement that connects back to the introduction. Then the signature needs to include your first and last name, the city you currently live in, and the state you live in. And then grammar and spelling, no spelling errors, correct grammar, and punctuation is used correctly. And then the formatting. And this is what I was talking about, why we needed to take out those tags. The letter is made up of 5 parts: opening, the to the editor, the introduction, body paragraph, conclusion, and signature. And they are all separate paragraphs. Okay, so your body needs to be shrunk down into 1 paragraph, but it needs to be separate from your introduction and your conclusion. And this is just to make it easier for your reader to understand the flow of your information. And of course, I want you to read your letter aloud to yourself to check for any final mistakes. I know this seems like a silly step, but it really helps you guys. It helps so much, because when you read it aloud, you are going to naturally find any mistakes that are in there. All right. Then after that, so you've checked the requirements on the rubric, after you've revised your letter to the editor using the checklist, you read your letter aloud to yourself, and now you get to submit it. Make sure that you submit your assignment by Thursday, June 10th, 2021 by 11:59 p.m. Remember, there are no extensions and no exceptions. That is the last day of school, so it is the absolute last time you can submit your assignment. So the sooner you get it in, the better, and then you don't have to worry about anything anymore for communications as long as you're caught up. So let me know if you guys have any questions. I hope this helps you to be able to put your final draft together, and let me know if you have any questions. I'll talk to you soon.